Hello, I am Deirdre Gage Cronin, President of the American Board of Peri-Anesthesia Nursing Certification Board, ABPANC. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to our presentation about the new ABPANC coaching program. ABPANC is constantly looking for ways to improve our programs. The teaching plan, which we will discuss today, was developed in response to your feedback. Our goal is to provide you with a consistent guide as you mentor peri-anesthesia nurses towards the certification examination. I'm very excited to announce another new opportunity for those coaches attending the 2013 ABPANC conference. We will have time scheduled to meet with all of our coaches and share ideas, discuss new coaching methods. It will be a great working session, and I hope you can join us. In addition, it was identified that coaches would welcome a routine opportunity to interact with us about the coaching program and to be able to ask questions about strategies that are successful, etc. We will be hosting a conference call with coaches who wish to call in beginning in January. Keep your eyes open for emails about this. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenters. Cheryl Coleman, BSN, RN, CPAN, ABPANC Director, is a staff and relief charge nurse in the PACU at Toomey Healthcare System in Sumter, South Carolina. Also presenting is Laura Williams, MSN, RN, CPAN, and ABPANC Director. Laura is the perioperative clinical specialist at Claremont Healthcare, Gaston Memorial Hospital, and Gastonia Memorial Hospital. Finally, Jeff Kenyon, who serves as our marketing director for ABPANC, will join us. Our objectives this evening are to review the purpose of the coaching program, review key coaching program documents and resources, review how coaches are evaluated by participants from their study groups using SurveyMonkey links sent to them by the ABPANC staff, discuss do's and don'ts when coaching, review how best to use the ABPANC website, ask for your feedback regarding the lesson plan, and to reiterate how you can ask questions about your role as a coach. Next, Cheryl will review the purpose of the coaching program.
Hello, everyone. The COACH program was created to assist candidates to prepare for a CPAN and CAPA certification exam. The coaches in the program have requested a structured outline to provide assistance to not yet certified colleagues to accomplish this goal, and we have listened. The idea here is to provide and ensure consistency in the message delivered by ABPANC coaches throughout the country. The new coach lesson plan will assist coaches to mentor potential candidates preparing for the CPAN or CAPA exams. It can also be used by individuals as an independent study plan and modified to the needs of the prospective candidates. The coach resources. If you go to the ABPANC website, under the resource tab, and then press the resources for coaches, we have several valuable resources for you, including Coaching the Coaches PowerPoint presentation, coaching lesson plan, exam blueprints, information about practice exams, and study tips brochure. In addition, there are 4 documents we want to focus on in this webinar. Those include the coach job description, the fact sheet, a list of coaching strategies, and the coaching activity log form. The CPAN or CAPA certification coach job description really gives the qualifications to become a coach, as well as offering things that you must agree to in the role as a coach. We want you to be able to speak passionately about the value of CPAN and CAPA certification, be willing to assist and encourage other not yet certified colleagues in becoming certified, and also that you would serve as a coach for CPAN or CAPA certification if you are certified, or if you are a nursing educator or an RN clinical leader in the instances where currently certified CPAN and CAPA nurses are not available. But it is very important that you understand that is the limitation, that you must be either a leader, an educator, or already be certified in CPAN and CAPA or CAPA certification. As the coach, you would agree to champion the vision and mission of ABPANC and convey the benefits and features of being a CPAN CAPA certification coach for your not yet certified colleagues and those reviewing certification. You would want to encourage and support CPAN CAPA certification in your institution in which you are employed or at the district or state and regional level, and agree to have contact information shared with candidates seeking a certification coach. And those candidates can be from anywhere in the country, actually, that would want to approach you to help them in seeking their certification. Now we're going to go to the fact sheet. And on the fact sheet, which is also on the website, you would have the information for the national office with our liaison, Zelda Williams. She would be your resource for questions, certification materials, and supplies, and updates about the CPAN or CAPA certification program. She is also your link to the ABPANC Coach Program Board Liaison, and her information would be posted on the ABPANC website. In any request for additional supplies, you must request at least 2 weeks in advance for Zelda to be able to get those materials to you. There are many items that can be just downloaded from the ABPANC website, but if there are things that you need that she would have to provide, she needs at least a 2-week notice to send those out to you. And as a coach, you would agree to have your contact information shared with candidates seeking certification. And after serving as a certification coach for a minimum of 1 year, which includes actively coaching a candidate or candidates, you will receive 3 contact hours in indirect care towards certification for yourself, recognition in the certification news, and recognition at the CPAN CAPA celebration event held at the ASPAN National Conference on an annual basis. And you would also have a certificate of appreciation presented to you. It is important that you review the coach orientation PowerPoint, Coaching the Coaches, which I have already pointed out to you is on the website, and review that information in the resource tab so that you would be able to understand what is required of you and make sure that you are qualified to serve as a coach. One thing that coaches need to be aware of is that we are not allowed as coaches to present review material for a certification review. We are serving as coaches for ABPANC, for those not yet certified colleagues. And as a coach, you are assisting with presenting material for those candidates, as well as offering them the opportunity to ask questions, but you are not serving as a review person in that capacity to present a review program. And now we will go on to our next resource, which is the coaching strategies. ABPANC does provide a list of coaching strategies that can be used, and you can use that and incorporate it into your coaching process in any way you see fit. You want to develop a list of people who are interested in learning more about CPAN and CAPA certification. You want to arrange meetings to review the study process and encourage individuals to come. And even if they're not ready to take the exam, you want them to be prepared to understand how the study process works. And then go through the process with their colleagues and help them to form their own study groups and determine the dates and locations for their first meeting. And you want to make sure that you are carefully reading the ABPANC Certification Candidate Handbook, because you want to be familiar with that. And Laura will go more in depth into that when she goes through the study lesson plan. And our fourth resource that we are going through is the coaching activity log form, which is very important, because that log form serves as your proof that you have put forth some effort in assisting others in becoming in reviewing their study lesson plan. You want to make sure that you have names of all of those who are participating in the coach lesson plans. You want to have their email addresses, because they are very important in the process, as well as use in the SurveyMonkey. You want to make sure that you can get the information from them about which exam they're planning to sit for, whether it is the CPAN or the CAPA, whether it's in the spring or the fall, and if they are registered for the exam or not. You also want to make sure that everyone's email is plainly and legibly written so that it can be easily transcribed by another person. The coach activity log is important to be transmitted to Zelda Williams at proexams.org so that she can use that information to make sure that you receive your 3 contact hours on an annual basis for participating as a coach. This is your reward for serving as the coach, and it's important that she knows that you are participating so that you can receive that reward. The contact hours are used as indirect care when you're applying for your personal recertification. And the log form is on the website. It can be downloaded and also transmitted to Zelda at the ProExam office in New York. And it is a vital part of our coaching program. It is also important that we go through the 12-week lesson plan, and Laura is going to do that for us by going to our next slide in the lesson plan for coaches.
Thank you, Cheryl. I just want to go over the purpose of the coaching plan, lesson plan for all of you. Candidates want to prepare thoroughly prior to taking the CPAN or CAPA examination. In order to ensure consistency among ABPANC coaches throughout the country, this lesson plan is to be used by coaches who are mentoring potential candidates for taking the CAPA or CPAN exam. It's also designed for individuals who are studying or a group that's not using a coach. The lesson plan is based on the CPAN and CAPA test blueprints and a recommended time frame needed to prepare for the ABPANC certification exam. The ABPANC coach should hold the participant accountable for studying each week to help explain any topics or concepts that the participant is struggling with. A typical review period of time for study is approximately 3 months or 12 weeks. This lesson plan is built around a 12-week schedule, but it can be modified based on what the needs of the participants are. The content listed, however, should be covered in whatever time frame is decided upon. The time frame gives the candidate time to review study materials, focus on weak areas from the lesson plan, and build confidence needed for taking the CPAN or CAPA exam. Various methods of teaching or learning can be used to modify the lesson plan. For example, topics can be discussed by experts in the field. You can use open dialogue in class meetings and have candidates teach each other to further increase learning opportunities. Lessons can be done during the weekday, at lunch, after work, evenings, weekends, or whenever the group can get together. I'm going to talk a little bit about the coaching preparation. First of all, you would want to form a study group. Get out there, develop that list of people who are interested in learning more about the CPAN and CAPA exam, and find other certified nurses and enlist them to help lecture or mentor as study buddies. Arrange a meeting with the study group, review the lesson plan for studying certification. Please review all the material furnished by ABPANC describing why certification is important. Then determine a date and location for your first meeting and post it everywhere, even in the bathroom. Prior to the first meeting, you would want to read the candidate handbook and appendices thoroughly. Determine which prometric test centers are closest to the candidate. Page 12 in the handbook defines locating the prometric test center nearest the candidate. The most up-to-date list of test centers is available online at www.prometric.com/ABPANC. Then go ahead and review the study tips brochure, review how candidates can access practice exams on the website, and review the coaching strategies found on the website under the resources for coaches. At the first meeting, after you want to review the handbook entirely, reinforcing heading by heading during the first weeks of study. You want to reinforce eligibility requirements, fees, the test dates and application deadlines, description of the examination, the test blueprint, and the references that are located in Appendix D. Use the lesson plan provided and assign topics. Stress the need to study from references found in Appendix D and not to study from just one reference. And develop a timeline within the group for dates, times, and places for study meetings. After the first meeting, you want to post the master calendar. Coordinate your locating study references and put a location for easy access by study participants. Use other CPAN and CAPA nurses. Throughout the coaching activity, you have to provide encouragement and support. Monitor and communicate registration deadlines. Reinforce information they must have to register online, which is located in the handbook. Encourage participants in study groups to go to the ABPANC website and access the ABPANC practice exams, which, by the way, are buy one, get one free. Review tips for taking an exam administered by a computer, and prior to the registration window, determine if everyone is registered that plans to take the exam. Reinforce the policies regarding withdrawal from the exam and policies for funds and rollovers. Identify throughout the coaching activity what type of study methods participants are using and what they would like to share. Before the exam administration window opens, plan a meeting to review test-taking strategies and relaxation techniques. Review the test-taking strategies PowerPoint found on the ABPANC website under the coaching resources. After the exam registration window closes, plan a celebration. Scores are released to the candidates every 2 weeks. Celebrate once all the participants have received their scores or as individuals receive their scores. When scores are released, coordinate unit hospital recognition of those achieved in their CPAN or CAPA certification. Follow up individually with those who were not successful. After the coaching experience is completed, you must email ABPANC the coaching activity log form that Cheryl discussed earlier. Now I'd like to go into the lesson plan itself. The lesson plan is broken down into 3 categories: physiological needs, behavioral and cognitive needs, and safety needs. If we look at week 2 on the lesson plan as an example, we're going to take the topic of respiratory. I'm not very much of a respiratory expert, so if I were the coach in this plan, I would probably like to find someone who's an expert, or because I'm not very thorough in my respiratory, I would probably teach it myself to make it easier for me to learn the material. You don't have to teach everything. You can have someone else do some of that for you. But make sure you support your information based on the knowledge that is required to meet the patient needs. and you will find in Appendix C of the handbook. Just because you are arranging it doesn't mean you have to do it all yourself. An example is each person in the study group can pick a topic and teach it during one of the study sessions that's planned. It is important to go through the knowledge required to meet patient needs thoroughly as you review each topic that you're discussing in the lesson plan. Some key no-nos. The next slide. Do not recommend just one or two study references or the book that you may have used to study from. Please refer to Appendix D of the Candidate Handbook. While you do not have to recommend that they study from all the references that you found, they should choose the references that cover topics that they are least familiar with. The test questions come from these references. If we only recommend one or two references, then the exam are a test of the content of these books rather than the broad knowledge about peri-anesthesia nursing identified in our most recent RDS. Do not say there is always question X, Y, and Z, or when I took the exam, there was a question X, Y, and Z. This is a violation of confidentiality agreements that all candidates agree to when they take the test. Sharing of questions weakens the credibility of our exams as well as the reliability and validity. Key yeses. In teaching this content, I do not represent ABPANC. I have not seen, nor will I see, nor have I been involved in the writing of the CPAN or CAPA examinations you will be taking. My participation in the teaching of any study content in no way ensures your success on the CPAN or CAPA examination. This is a key statement that you will find to make sure that you are not going outside of your scope. Remember, the primary goal of a certification coach is to help CPAN and CAPA candidates identify and use the most helpful study strategies, but not necessarily to teach the content. If you are a subject matter expert in a given area, you will be providing some instruction and review. And with that statement that I just read, you will preface your information with that statement. And now, I would like to invite Jeff Kenyon to review some key areas of the website and where you'll find valuable resources.
Thank you, Laura. I'd like to take just a couple of minutes to review the location of the content on our website that Laura and Cheryl have been talking about. And this is the home page. We use this area on the right-hand side to publish breaking news or timely information. And these tile ads will change throughout the year, so please check here as you visit our site. You can see right now we have a rotating tile ad where we're announcing the spring exam registration schedule, encouraging nurses to get involved. And here's the Get Involved link, and also recognizing our 2012 award winners. There's also a direct link to the study plan that Laura presented. It's not the complete coaching lesson plan, but the 12-week schedule for nurses to help organize their time. The navigation across the top is where you go to find most of the information on our website. The benefits provides good information about the benefits of certification. The certification tab includes eligibility requirements here, and a direct link to the online application and forms. This is where you go to register for the exam. Also, the candidate handbook is here, includes direct links to several important appendices. So here's the handbook, and here's several of the appendices which have important information. Exam preparation is the link where you'll find several different resources, including the list of study references, the certification handbook, study tips, down here, the practice exam, and again, the 12-week lesson plan. Up back at the top under recertification, there's a tab with similar information, including the recertification handbook, schedules and fees, and the online application form. And here's where nurses go to recertify online. And then again, up at the top for the primary navigation under resources, this is where you'll find the resources for coaches over here on the left. And this is where the information that Cheryl reviewed is, including your coach activity log form, the coaching lesson plan, coaching strategies, study tips, fact sheet, job description. A lot of the resources that you'll use as a coach are here under resources for coaches. And now I'd like to open up this for sharing strategies that have worked for us. Turn it back over to Deirdre.
I'd like to share a strategy that worked for me, and it might work for many others. I was in a relatively remote area, and I did not have a coach to coach me, so I had to develop my own study plan, and one of my weaknesses was pharmacology. So I used my anesthesia records and my CRNAs. Those were my resources. The practice setting I was in Okinawa, Japan. I was a military nurse, and the CRNAs were wonderful teachers. And I reviewed the anesthesia records for the medications that they used, and found that that was a very helpful way for me to process how the practice flowed for my patients, and particularly if there were issues in either the OR or in PACU, I could relate the pharmacology to the patient setting, and then speak with it in mind with the CRNAs, and that helped me tremendously with my studying. And they were my mentors. They were my study guide folks. So that was a strategy that worked for me in my location long ago and far away, but I think still applicable to our area. I think that, Cheryl, you had a wonderful strategy that worked for you. Would you like to share that?
Well, mine is not so much a strategy as something that I know that has happened with many of us. Like many others, I failed my first exam, but my determination to become successful in achieving my goal prevailed. I just would not allow myself to be defeated. I want to encourage others to not give up after being unsuccessful on their first attempt, but to go back and review the areas of weakness and forge ahead to success. It is really up to you. Your students will be glad you pushed them if you would encourage them as the coach. I personally did not have a coach, but it was just something that I wanted to achieve for myself. And by forging on with it and becoming successful, it has gotten me to where I am now on the ABPANC board. And it has served me well to be a member of this board, and I have learned something on a daily basis just by being a part of the board. And it's just one of those things that you have to set that goal for yourself and become successful in your endeavor.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're welcome.
Before we close, I'd like to briefly talk about the practice examinations that ABPANC has available. Jeff showed you where on the website candidates can access practice exams. At this time, the practice exams cost $35 each, but we have a promotion to buy one, get one free right now, and we recognize that people want more from a practice exam experience. The practice exams were originally designed to stimulate the actual exam experience rather than being a study tool. But beginning this winter, hopefully in January, when a practice exam candidate misses a question, they will see a response that tells them they missed the question, and it will direct them to the appropriate reference. And at the end of the practice exam, a summary page will be provided and highlights areas of weakness. Check the website for an announcement that will let you know that the redesigned practice exam is launched. So look forward to that. In closing, I'd like to say thank you. As coaches, you are the epitome of passion in action as you mentor others in their journey towards certification. We value your time, your energy, and your enthusiasm, and we welcome your feedback. Please do not hesitate to contact the ABPANC office with your questions, and I personally thank you for your time attending this webinar.